Nuclear missile ready. Nuclear missile ready. Nuclear missile ready.
Alright, what is up guys? How are you all doing today? Man, I hope you had some fun watching the GSL right here. I thought it was quite a good couple of matches there. I had a lovely time watching Taste Toasters cast as well, of course, as always. Good guys to view and to learn from as well, if you're me, of course. Anyway, yeah, some interesting games that definitely happens here. And Bunny did just arrive, so I still kind of gotta tell him. I still gotta tell him kind of the things here. Let me see, actually. He's asking about the prize pool as well. So I'm just gonna update him on that, apparently. Alright. Anyway, I hope everything is going alright with the stream. I hope I'm not having too much lag. If so, I would appreciate a Discord message here. I already kind of closed down the other stream myself here. Alright. Anyway. They are both talking about things. Who is this? Who's giving me a friend invite here? Is this Bunny? It's not Bunny. It's someone else. Was there somebody else casting this as well? Sorry about the delay, guys. I think we might be able to go pretty darn soon here. I'm just trying to fine-tune everything, making sure everything is gonna go all right. Normally, if there are people here that are going to be joining, I'm assuming they're gonna be all right. Anyway, okay. It looks like we're good. I'm gonna put Zoun in as a player. That is it's another little fine-tuning I could do to make things move a little bit smoother. Bunny is, he came on a bronze account, first of all. And afterwards he was saying that he's not feeling very confident. He's not really feeling like he's going to be able to win here against the Protoss. At least that's what he's saying. I'm not quite sure if that is going to be the case, though. Of course, Bunny, a very formidable opponent. Sometimes he doesn't have the greatest of days, that is true. But then again, some other times he outperforms a lot of other people, and well, it always kind of comes down to how well of a show he can put on. We're just gonna have to wait and see. Let's try to get through the best of 9 here without too much of a 5-0 happening. At least that's what we're hoping for. Right, okay. Right. I still had the old overlay up for replay casting I did for somebody. That's a bit embarrassing. Alright, anyway, we've got it fixed for the next one. Let me just lift this up here. Alright, so it's a best of 9. The score right now, it is 0-0, so not much to say about that. Oh boy. Alright, anyway. In the top right side, we have none other than Kaisi Gaming. Not feeling all too good, apparently, but maybe that's all just a ruse. He is Bunny. Gonna be able to use the getting rid of the overlay thing, though. Maybe, perhaps. Anyway, in the bottom left side, we have a red Protoss player. He is none other than Alpha X's Zoun. Zoun. I asked him this, actually, recently, right? How he wants his name to be pronounced. But then, I didn't really understand what he meant, honestly. It sounded like more like a J sound instead of a Z sound. So instead of Zoun or something like that, it was kind of sounding like Joun, something like that. But then he said like the same thing again. So he said it's this, and then he said not this, which was exactly the same thing as he said before. Or at least sounded very similar. So it made things a little bit more difficult for me. We gotta do the production tab here as well, of course. Let's take a look at what these guys are up to overall so far. Just some regular things. It looks like we have the Reaper moving across the map here. Going towards the bottom left side. As, of course, that is where Zoun is playing. He is looking to put a little bit of a proxy down here. Reaper was not in time to really follow that probe out here. Or at least wasn't interested in following that probe, at least. Oh, good block that. I never knew you could block this with just 2 buildings. Maybe that or just a slight little bit of a miss micro there. In the top right we have... well, I guess a barracks or making a reactor. And a factory as well coming up. Are these going to be Widowmine drops? It does look like they will be. This probe in the bottom right still unused so far, and this Adept actually going to be able to pick off a Marine there as well. That's a bit of a failed micro there. Actually, this one Adept already 3 kills the Reaper, the SCV, and the Marine, which is all the units that were already lost here. Okay. Now that is the medevac on the way as well. I mean, already we have seen Zoun going for the scouts here, so he already kind of knows that he knows about the Widowmines, he knows about the Marines. And at this point on, he can pretty much comfortably assume that it is going to be those Widowmines being dropped into his own base. So let's take a look at how he's already prepping for this. And, well, he's getting himself Blink. Although that is probably already something pretty standard. He was already planning. Not really a response to that. But these types of pylons over here are, though. He wants to be able to see this coming in as quickly as possible. So he's putting those pylons down around his bases, where the medevac is most likely going to be flying past. And he has his stalkers in the middle here, because if the medevac does come through the middle, he's not going to be able to scout it out as quickly, but then the stalker's already going to be on top of it. Now, here we have it. First of all, the first drop. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to do too much. The blink just seconds away from finishing, though. So 2 of those Widowmines do manage to get out of that medevac, killing off 2 stalkers. I guess that's not too bad. 2 stalkers is still a reasonable trade. It's better than nothing, to be fair, as those stalkers did already just blink away, so couldn't save themselves there. But in the end, is it really worth it for our Terran player here, Bunny? I don't think it is. Honestly, a medevac and those, as we can see, resources quite heavily in favor for Mr. Zoun here. But yeah, like I said, those 2, well, the medevac and the Widowmines as well. 3 Widowmines all going down there. Not the greatest of trades, but at least a trade, I guess. Observer needs to be careful. There is a Raven up here. So I don't think it's going to be able to stay up here for all too long. The Stalker's blinking forward. Kind of troubled by the sight of seeing all those Marines in the Marauder there. Oh my dear lord. This Observer stays alive with just a slither of HP left. And Zoun, interesting maneuvering here. Going around the bunker and taking it down actually as well. Now pretty reasonable micro here with the Blink Stalkers. Putting some of the low HP though back at the front. But doesn't seem like Bunny will be able to really make use of that. Anyway, this proxy gateway here, I thought he was going to put a robo there, but instead the robo is in the natural base here. Third base on the way as well for Zoun. I'm going to assume that he is just going to play it slow at this point. Not really necessity for him to start poking away at his opponents here. Raven, is Bunny still going to be able to see this? Oh yeah, it looks like he did, but so does Zoun, and he's moving away here, getting a couple of those Marauders though. Those are big pigs, and now just recalling 2 Marauders. I mean, that's a good amount of reinforcing units that will no longer be taking part in the next upcoming fight here. I mean, those are 5 Marauders and a reasonable amount of Marines, but having 7 instead of 5, that's a big deal, especially against an army of Stalkers that's this Stalker heavy, really. The Marauder might come in to tank a Widowmine shot. Actually, 3 Zealots moving forward first of all, trying to set those off. Anti-armor missile does land. It's going to come down to these 3 remaining Widowmines. Are they going to get good connections here before the bio dies? That's the real question. It looks like they're just shooting the Zealots here, unfortunately. So no targeting really coming out of Bunny there. And yeah, I think that might be the reason why now he's on the ropes again, going backwards. Not really having a significant trade here in his favor. There's also, oh, that's still the Observer. And 2 Zealots now being warped in, going for that mineral line here. Not finding too much. I think he killed off like 1 mule, but I don't think that was too much time left on that one anyway. 3 of those Widowmines died before they even get a shot off. That is pretty large as well. And now 2 more are going to get knocked out of here. And basically just a small clump of bio remaining here for Bunny, trying to maintain some sort of presence, but it's not going to work out. That is nowhere near the amount of stuff that he needed. And that's going to be game 1 in the favor for Zoun here. Zoun. Maybe it was just an accent thing as well. I think I need to get into a Discord call at some point with him and ask him that way. Maybe do an interview. I'm not quite sure how good his English is though. He might just be using the he might just be using the other thing. The Google Translate. Okay, Nightshade will be the map chosen here for Bunny. And yeah, let's see where it's gonna take us. Nightshade. There we go. Putting Zoun in Zoun. I need to look this up again, how he pronounced it exactly. Anyway, and then I hope I don't sound like an idiot. I already do. I always do that anyway. Go is called. Alright. Won't let these guys wait any longer. Good luck. Good luck. Have fun. Have fun. Here we go. Everything should be good now, by the way, guys. My apologies for not having the WCS thing up there for a moment. Unfortunately, I forgot that I was watching some replays with somebody else, and it's always nice to have the menus available. So we have it now, luckily. Thank God, thank the heavens. There it is, looking beautiful again. Let me just get this bar downwards again, so you know what, we won't have any further disturbances later on when things are actually getting heated up here. Right, anyway, in the top left side we have our, well, self-proclaimed Bronze Bunny. He's from KZ Gaming. I'm not sure if they'd ever let a bronze player on their team, but you know what the heck. He says it himself. So anyway, he is a bunny. In the bottom right, the red Protoss up 1 game so far. You know what? In best of 9 doesn't necessarily always mean you're a massive advantage. You still need to win 4 games. And that is not all too far away from winning 5 games. Anyway, he is from Alpha X, our, well, new addition to the pro roster. He is Zoun. Or Zoun. One of those. I need to look this up again. I'm just going to stick to Zoun for now, actually. As that is kind of the name everybody has become acclimated to. And then if I hear him say something else specifically, I'm going to try to remember that instead. Let's try to be consistent here, shall we? Okay, so scouting out with the probe here, not really finding all too much. And let's take a look on this side of the map. Just going to go for that quick nexus, as that is basically what he did see, right? Kind of being able to get to this amount of greed without worrying too much. And there comes the Reaper. Moving across the map here. There is once more a little probesy going to the top right. I'm wondering if it's going to be once again for a proxy gateway. Personally, I'm not quite sure what the gateway did there. I guess it helps out a little bit with reinforcing the push. But, nothing too much other than that. Wait a moment, it's going to be a Stargate this time around. Alright, yeah, Stargate, a pretty reasonable tack to go against the Terrans, of course. Does still help if you make a couple of those Phoenixes against any type of a drop. Widowmine drop, for example, like we saw in the previous game, definitely can have a hard time getting into the base and doing damage if there are the Phoenixes. And it's even more difficult than against Blink Stalkers if you are trying to get out of there as well at the same time. Right, once you are committed, you're pretty much committed for the rest of the period of time. Now, did he actually see the Stargates here? No, he didn't. So, moving around, expecting tech perhaps to be on the backside here. It's not going to be the case, though, unfortunately for him. And that's going to mean he is going to have to play in the dark here. Kind of assume that it could very well be the Blink Stalkers one more time. As he's going to go for the Widowmine drop once again. Now, I think the Widowmine drop definitely still has its place in this matchup. But I definitely do think that's a little bit overutilized by the Terran players. It's become so predictable that pretty much every single Protoss player you see right now playing against a Terran, they open up with either Blink or they open up with the Phoenixes. As they don't really necessarily need to go for anything else, right? Because if you get those two, you're pretty much guaranteed safety against most of the early aggression that the Terrans do, which is mostly the Widowmine drop, after all. The Hellion drop as well, kind of the same thing, the same kind of deal. Maybe a little bit easier to still get away from or try to escape the Blink Stalkers. Get out of dodge in that sense. This time around, though, where are the Phoenixes there? They are at the main base. They're coming in right now. They're not in time to lift up the... Well, they are... No, one Widowmine does connect, but only against 2 probes. So for a moment, I thought that was going to be worse. I thought 2 of them were going to get burrowed, but... Well, that second one just... in the nick of time getting lifted up there by those Phoenixes. Just barely keeping all those probes up. Except for those 2, I suppose. But yeah, it's fine. That's basically the 2 probes dying is pretty much if 2 Widowmines did manage to get burrowed, but then, you know, it sound microed against it pretty much perfectly, right? And let both Widowmines only hit a single probe there. So considering he didn't have to really micro any of those probes, that one as good as you could kind of hope for. Okay, now what are going to be the follow-ups here for both these players? That is the next thing that we have to wonder about. Bunny, it doesn't look like he is gonna go for a third base until he has enough forces to make a move out as well. He's gonna add the +1 weapon upgrades here, which is kind of a sign that he is planning to do a timing and attack here. Now, Zoun, he is already making those Colossi units. Definitely could be a bit of a problem as well. Oh, nice hidden Widowmine there behind the refinery. Getting a little bit too close to that one. Maybe Zoun actually did already spot it, as he didn't really try to go through the way top here. He already tried to go around the bottom side. Maybe he was already trying to avoid the Widowmine. That's no longer there actually, so that's pretty cool to see from Bunny. Moving around with the Widowmines, of course. Always want to do that because, well, first of all, it's you know what, if you just keep them at the same location, ultimately your opponent can just kind of already blindly. Well, I say blindly, but almost blindly, just on memory, avoid the Widowmines. And this way, of course, kind of avoiding that type of scenario. Phoenixes chasing this army here. Would love to grab themselves a Widowmine in the air here. Maybe even try to target down the Raven. Oh, that is so ballsy. Going for the medevacs here. And immediately the Phoenixes, as soon as they see this, jumping on the opportunity, taking down the Raven. I'm not quite sure if you wanted to take out the Raven, as all these bioforces now do manage to get into the natural base. But there are quite a good amount of ground forces here from Zoun as well. Is it going to be enough though? He's losing a lot of stuff. He's losing more probes here on the left side as well. 14 probes so far, and that, I'd say that is definitely the amount of damage that Bunny wanted to, well, achieve here. I don't even think that's a minimum amount of damage that he was looking for. That is a pretty darn solid amount. He's going to be able to comfortably take that third base now as well, after trading out not only against the probes, but also dealing with a pretty large portion of the Protoss army there itself. So he's going to be pretty comfortable. Knows that Zoun not in the position that he would like to be. If he wanted to do a counter-aggression right here after that many, like 4 medevacs filled with units got taken out. Simply because he just doesn't have the forces to do so. And the Phoenixes, I mean, yeah. Kind of comes down to targeting down the Raven there instead of any of the medevacs, right, as well. I mean, to be fair, maybe the Raven, he did have quite a lot of energy, so perhaps would have been able to just disable a lot of the Phoenixes here. And avoid lethal damage on any of the medevacs. And then, you know what, Zoun would have been in an even worse position there. But, as well, at the same time, if he did manage to kill off one of those medevacs, he would have been able to clean that up so much more easily. He wouldn't have lost as many probes either. And perhaps he would have been in a position where he just had a massive army at that point. He could start putting the pressure on the other side of the map here. Instead, now we're seeing Bunny grabbing himself the counters to what Zoun really has on the map right now. Those Colossi, making those Vikings, of course, as an answer. Zoun is already getting himself some disruptors as well here, though. To be fair, it's a very unfortunate placement for that Widowmine, exactly underneath the observer here. There is a disruptor shot. Actually, quite a chunk of Marauders there going down. Nicely done. It's a small opportunity, but definitely finding that one. Widowmine's kind of functioning here as not only delaying if Zoun ever wants to go for a expansion here, but also kind of as a scouting tool, right? As soon as Zoun does try to move out on the map, for example, through the middle, Bunny would be aware. Fortunately, that wouldn't happen, of course, because the observer is there, so Zoun would most likely just take it out before actually attempting something here. There we go. The Widowmine actually killing off a probe here. Oh my dear lord. That medevac a little bit overzealous. Or medevac, War Prison. He Protoss medevac. Doesn't do that much with meds. Just kind of wobs. But, yeah, definitely a bit of a blunder. Ghost now on the way as well. Already prepping for Archon High Templar tech here, perhaps. And then again, I suppose the Ghost already incredibly good against any Protoss units here. I wouldn't mind seeing more Liberators though, and that's also what we're seeing actually. So Liberators, of course, a bit of a better answer against those Disruptors, but you know what, we're getting Archons here as well, so those Ghosts definitely a great call from Bunny. Zoun, he's definitely up against the ropes here. To be fair, after that initial aggression here, thought he was going to do pretty good, but then the second wave of aggression came in. I really thought that was a bit of a Hail Mary. Didn't think it was going to be able to get much done, but definitely did. And now we're in this situation where perhaps Bunny just has too much to be handled here by Zoun. And Zoun definitely being pushed backwards. Those Colossi getting rather extremely low. The Disruptors just barely escaping with an inch of HP remaining. And now the Liberators are here as well. Disruptors can't achieve that much more anymore. Even if that one landed there, I'm not quite sure if Zoun would have been able to recover from this position here. And GG is called. And the series goes to 1-1 here. And, well, already it's going better than Bunny proclaimed. As he did say he was going to lose 0-5. Is there a reason why the ladder maps aren't loading up for me? When I'm pressing melee in a custom tab, it won't actually show the ladder maps, or any maps for that sake. Alright, Bunny is a go, go, go. He's feeling it now, he's getting into the groove, it seems. And Zoun is, okay, yeah, he is good to go as well. Alright, both are the correct race. Here we go, guys, another game coming up here. Remember, we also have the Matcherino, by the way, before I forget too much. I think there's like $6 left in codes that we can use, so if you want to support us for free, definitely go check that one out. You can also do it through the quests, of course, that are available as well on the page. And if not, well, then there's always the old-fashioned way of just donating money as well. If you like to see these players more often, if you want to support them in their esports ventures, if you want to support Alpha X Pro Series overall, then that's the place to do it. Or the Patreon, of course, that is if you want to support Alpha X as a team. Anyway, in the top left side, we have a Kaisi Blue Terran player. Wasn't feeling too good about it, but maybe, you know what? Maybe that was just all a clever ploy to try and catch Zoun off guard. But anyway, this guy here, he is called Bunny. Right, in the bottom right side, we have a red Protoss fighting for Alpha X. He is none other than Zoun. A little bit of a awkward movement there from this probe. Gonna wanna keep our eyes on this one. It's just a regular scout. Alright, alright. It's a bit of a Debbie Downer probe there. Thought he was gonna go into a corner, try something sneaky. But instead he's just gonna scouting for proxy barracks, of course. Makes a lot of sense, actually. Makes more sense, anyway. Trying to block that command center there for a little while. Not really finding a good moment to do so. Unfortunately, yeah, I guess it does force Bunny to also put another SCV there. But in the end, not really much of a delay there for our Blue Terran. And the Alpha X player here is, in fact, still gonna go with a probe into that corner once more. So far, that hasn't really proxied that much, except for, like, some gates here and there. I mean, the gateway proxies, they are kind of nice to warp in units to do harassment, counterattacks, As you can see, the Terran is at your front door, but so far, I don't think that they've really managed to hit home just yet. And the home of Bunny, of course. What did the Reaper see? What did the Reaper see? And not much. Not much at all. Once again, a non-scouted build here for Zoun. And are we going to see another Widow Mine here in the production tab for this factory? I think we might do. I very well think we might do. Yeah, there it is. Once again, the same build from Bunny here. And Zoun, you know what? Can just head on over to grab himself that blink. And should be okay against the initial Widow Mines, of course. Now, it's going to be interesting whether or not Bunny is going to go for that much aggression again here. As his second follow-up attack. Or if he's going to gamble it again with just going up, lifting up in those medevacs and dropping into a base somewhere. Reaper looks like he will be able to get this scout off on the Twilight Council here eventually. Took him a little bit, but still he is aware now that this is most likely Blink coming up here. Especially after seeing the Stalkers as well. Or at least one Stalker here. But, you know what? Yeah, you don't win if you don't try. So he's just gonna go for it anyway. And, you know what? Having the Blink, having the units to stop this from doing any damage doesn't necessarily guarantee, of course, this won't do any damage. Still a definitive possibility that this is just going to be able to find its way into some sort of a mineral line and land a miracle Widow Mine shot here. Now, luckily for Zoun, he does have his units already in a pretty reasonable position. We'd like to see a quick reaction, and there it is. Okay, coming forward, blinking towards that medevac. And a great pull here by our Terra or Protoss. Once again, I mean, losing 2 probes actually and 2 Stalkers here. And the medevac, it is still alive. I don't think I'm pretty sure that shouldn't stay alive for the rest of the game. I don't think that one is going to be able to escape and achieve much else. But at least it's keeping the Stalker there pinned to the wall. Glued to the wall, as it were. Doesn't want to let that one escape. Now we're seeing charge getting created here by Zoun. Adding in a good amount of gateways, actually. 4 gateways, it seems. Alright, he is starting to move across the map. He didn't do anything just yet with his probe in the bottom left side either yet. So, still kind of waiting for him to drop some sort of a proxy pylon. And then most likely we'll just use it to warp in units later on in the game. Although the Warp Prism, of course, can achieve much of the same thing. There must be some sort of a metric, right, for this single probe here. I'm not quite sure when it left the base for Zoun, but never letting it go back to mining it must still be a reasonable amount of money, actually, that he is losing here. Just by having that one probe just sitting there for this amount of time. It's not really achieving anything much of value if it's not making a proxy pylon, of course. It's just kind of... well, it's scouting. It's scouting this location here, but not too much avail. Anyway, is Zoun just going to go for a massive attack here? I'm not quite sure. I don't see any more probes on the production tab, so it very well might be him actually trying to be aggressive here. But then again, at the same time, Bunny moving his own units. He's even pulling the SCVs here. This could be very awkward. Those sentries could be massive here in this situation. We need to see great force fields. They are alright, actually. Siege tanks now sieged up. Wouldn't mind to see Zoun moving backwards, but he's gonna go forwards anyway. Those zealots moving in, and those SCVs, they are still going for it as well. And yeah, I think that was definitely a little bit of an overcommittal from our Protoss here. Not expecting exactly that much from Mr. Bunny. who is on 4 racks without a third base actually, and kind of failed to highlight that for a while. Alright, in come more sentries. They need to get themselves great force fields here. Only one available, it looks like, and they are not doing very much, unfortunately. And GG is called again here. Zoun getting taken to court and slapped down a restraining order here from Buddy for this for Simulacrum. Zoun no longer allowed to be anywhere near that map right now. Definitely a bit of a feels bad moment here for our Protoss player. Now losing 2 games in a row. Is he going to be able to kind of mitigate the amount of games that he's going to lose in a row now? Eternal Empire is going to be the map chosen by Zoun. It's funny. I got told not to pick very heavily Terran favored map, which was called, which he said would be Eternal. That's funny. And now Zoun is picking Eternal. I guess there's not that many maps remaining though, to be fair, but let's see. Eternal, here we are. Probably no, they're always wondering, what the hell is this guy doing? Why is it taking so long? That's what I'd say anyway, if I was a pro gamer. Then again, they don't gotta talk to stuff and do things. Anyway. Game number 4 already. Going through them pretty quickly here. Bunny is go as well. Good luck. Have fun. And alright. Ready, game number 4. Approaching that halfway mark here. Rather rapidly. Like an oncoming train. Will it, like 2 trains on the same track, trying to drive towards one another. Who's going to pick up more speed here in the end? And the one with the more speed, of course, is going to just pummel through the one with a less amount of speed. As long as you assume that both of these players are kind of around the same weight class, I suppose, the same punching class. Anyway, in the top right, we have the blue Terran player. Hailing from Kai C Gaming, he is none other than Bunny. His opponent, the Alpha X Red Protoss. Can he get himself back into the driver's seat of this match? He is Zoun. Can he take control of the locomotive? That is the question. Right, to keep this train thing going here. He needs to find a new conductor, though. It looks like, because he's losing a lot of money with people coming in the train, not having bought any tickets. And that is always a problem, of course. So you're just slowly gonna fall behind if you let people do that from the start. You're gonna slowly fall behind here. And then ultimately you're just gonna get crumpled up by your competition. The competitor, the blue train. Bunny looking for the scout as well. Gonna go with that SCV scout once more. Let's see if Zoun is gonna be able to block this for a longer period of time. Doesn't look like Bunny is taking the bait though. Just throwing it down a little bit further towards the top. It's gonna have to move it, of course, eventually, but ultimately probably still a less amount of time wasted there than if he was gonna be trying to kill off that probe or chase it off. Alright. Actually, we are seeing a little bit of a difference here in the builds for Bunny. This time around, we see the factory a hell of a lot closer to that barracks than we normally see. So actually, I am assuming we are going to have some Hellions taking place here this time around. Now, to be fair, of course, I did mention this before, but the blink play from Zoun should be pretty darn good against those Hellions as well, as it is against the against the Widow Mines here. And there we have it, Hellions on the way. Also a tech lab actually being placed right next to that starport. Could be a follow-up for Banshees here as well. Very aggressive style. Looks like what is coming out here for Bunny. Oh my dear lord. The Adept manages to get in here. Should definitely let that shade finish. And there we go. It's going to be able to maybe even get a delay here on this starport. Not that much of a delay, but still, it's pretty nice. Gets the full scout off. And I think he can make the assumption that something might be happening with the barracks and the starports here. He is gonna want to have to re-scout this one though, of course, as, you know what, Bunny, as it looks like, you know what, not gonna overcommit to the Hellions here. Definitely can switch things up still. That's kind of the strength of Terran, right? You can always move around those add-ons and confuse your opponent on what you're doing here. But let's take a look if Zoun is going to be starting to prep for any type of invisible unit. So far, it's a definitive no. He is grabbing himself a Dark Shrine, though. So all he's doing really is grabbing his own units that need to be detected. No robotics facility on the way just yet. Really should get this one started pretty soon as the Banshee... Oh, actually, that's not the Banshee. As the Banshee is already moving across the map here. And that Cloak is getting closer and closer to finishing up. Only now grabbing himself that Robo. Is that still going to be in time? That is... it's going to be close. It's going to be very close. One Widow Mine here set up on the third base. Another good reason to get yourself a Observer here. And, ooh, this could be pretty nice for Zoun, actually. It looks like Bunny is waiting for the second Banshee to group up with his forces here as well. Gonna set those Hellions to start harassing the main base, it looks like. As those Banshees are coming in as well. And it makes sense, actually, for Bunny to wait for that second Banshee, of course, normally. As you would expect Zoun to get some shield batteries here. Shield battery, pretty much a counter to a single Banshee. If you have two Banshees, you can one-shot those probes, and that makes a lot of sense. But instead, you know what, Zoun not making that investment, still having that money, and gonna invest it in some other way. There is the first victim of the Dark Templar. Looks like the it was a Marine getting killed off here. Definitely looks like Zoun made the choice to go for that one. There's the Raven. To be fair, we have been seeing Bunny going for that Raven continuously. And, oh my dear lord. At the time when the Banshees do come in, the Stalkers run away. But then, to be fair, he only was with two Stalkers there. And the Hellions as well, making their way through here. Gonna be able to run past the Stalker that got a little bit distracted there by the Banshees as well. And that's 11 kills already on the workers here. That is ridiculous, actually. Was that really just all the Banshees and the Hellion there? That's a great amount of control from Bunny, I have to say. 7 kills on this Banshee. Wouldn't be surprised if the other ones came from the other Banshee here. I don't think the Hellions really got to do that much, except for just kind of make things even more difficult for Bunny to deal with those Banshees there. 2 more barracks being constructed, and Bunny is really taking Zoun to town here. Not giving him much breathing room so far. And you know what? Just being on 45 workers versus 51 there for a moment. It's pretty devastating. That is not where you would like to be. And you gotta question yourself well, the DT attack here. I mean, Bunny so far in this series, every single time we have been seeing him make the Raven. I don't think he's ever skipped out on the Raven so far. So maybe a little bit of a misread for Zoun here, not picking up on that or really registering it. Maybe just kind of coming up in the moment again and just going for something else, trying something. A bit of a desperation move, who knows, but it definitely didn't work out for him in this sense. Blink Stalkers having a little bit of a kerfuffle again here with the Bioforces. Wouldn't mind if the Stalkers were to rotate through into the third base, try to see what they can get done there. There's only a Widow Mine and a Siege Tank there, but Looks like he is playing it safe. After all, there is the watchtower there, so Bunny would have been aware as soon as Zoun would have started making the that maneuver. And, alright, Bunny, once again, starting to move out here. With quite the scary force. 2 siege tanks, quite a lot of marauders and marines. Getting himself the armory now as well, as he already has +1/+1 against 0/0 from Zoun. Zoun doesn't even have a forge yet, does he? No, he does not. This is going to be the first forge that he's creating, and Bunny can start +2/+2 before that is even done, the first forge. So Bunny definitely kind of running away upgrade-wise. Looks like army supply as well, way in favor for our blue Terran here. I'm a little bit worried. This could very well be a moment in time where Bunny is just going to absolutely demolish his opponent here. Siege tanks weren't siege though, and the Widowmine's not burrowed underground. This could still work out in the favor for Zoun because of this, but oh my dear lord, it doesn't even matter. Doesn't even get close still. Again, hallucinated Archons as well to tank more damage here from the siege tank and stuff like that, but it's just nowhere near enough, and Zoun once again has to GG out of there. I think there was even another harassment happening here, but anyway. That's a bit unfortunate for our Protoss player from Alpha X. Definitely struggling here. It's a 3-1 score right now. And, you know what, Bunny, he, it's not looking as bad as he was saying he would. And Zoun going for Golden Wall as the next one. Interesting, interesting. Okay, there it is. It's starting to get rather difficult, me having to type out the map names here every time. Alright guys, by the way, events like these, they would not be possible without our absolutely wonderful sponsors. One of them is F-Bomb, and they are in the line of work, the line of duty, to make low-carb, high-fat foods to help you live a healthier life. They research, test, taste and source the highest quality ingredients and put them into custom-made packages. So we want to give a huge shout out to F-Bombs and their products, of course, which have unique packaging. So they, you know what, provide us with high quality food options for at home or on the go. Neither of those are anymore a challenge. As we all know, gamers, they sometimes struggle making their own food, right? That's we like to make things quick. We like to make things easy for ourselves. But anyway, go check them out, guys. F-Bombs, the perfect kind of meal for at any place. Let me do this as well. All right. Lovely, lovely. All right. The next game coming up here. Already game number 5. Isn't it? Wait. Oh, God. Actually, no. It's game number 4? Is Bunny on 3 or... Alright, let me think back. Let me think back here. We had Everdream. That's where we started. That was a Zoun victory. And afterwards, we went to Nightshade, which was a Bunny victory. Then we went to... Was it already Eternal afterwards? No, I don't think so. We went to... Huh. Wow. My brain likes to be confused. Anyway, actually, I'm pretty sure this is game number 5, but... I feel like I'm forgetting about one map. Anyway, in the bottom right side, we have the blue Terran from Kai C Gaming. He is none other than Bunny. In the bottom left side, we have the red Protoss. He is none other than Zoun. Alright, so let's think back. We had Nightshade, and afterwards, which map did we play then? It wasn't Zen, it wasn't... oh, Simulacrum. Yeah, that's right, we had Simulacrum. Simulacrum. the simulacrum we played on. Yeah, and Bunny did the full-on attack there. Very aggressive, and Zoun was on the middle of the map. Then after that one, we had the game we just played on Eternal. So there we go. All right, that's all the games back in my head again. All right. Expansion from Bunny here. Being met by the quicker Nexus, of course, from our Protoss player, as is per usual, as is the tradition in TVP matchup. And nobody messes with tradition, of course. Pretty sure Koreans are also very much about traditions and things like that. At least some of them, probably. Who knows? I don't think I can go wrong with a saying like that. Oh my dear lord. Okay, he sees it. That's pretty good. So Bunny picking up on the fact that Zoun has been putting those buildings, well, at least the probes across the map here quite often. Adapt, trying to get some scouting intel of his own. Isn't going to be able to get into the main base though, most likely. Yeah, there is the Blokov, and it looks like once again going to be the Widowmine drop here from Bunny. I mean, the Banshee play with the Hellions there working out marvelously as well. I definitely feel like this is a playstyle with the Widowmines that Zoun is going to be a little bit more comfortable playing against. Ooh, there we go. Does manage to kill off the Reaper, but of course the Reaper did still get the full scout of once again seeing the Twilight Council and seeing the probe counts pretty much as well at both of these bases, knowing that he's most likely not going to have to be too afraid right now. I wouldn't be surprised either if we are going to see another Raven being made here, just in case, as he did see that Twilight Council. And then again, that Raven, I mean, they are very, very useful. Of course, they don't do just well against Dark Templar. They do well against Colossus as well, as they do well against Disruptors. As you can just disable Disruptors and negate any of those attacks. It's difficult to execute, of course. It takes quite a bit of micro, quite a bit of control and precision. But, you know, if it does work, it works marvelously. And it is amazing to see, of course, and makes Terran look ridiculously strong on that front, as the Bio Forces don't have to run away against Disruptors or Colossi and don't have to split as much. So their DPS goes up quite tremendously, usually, as the units don't have to be running around trying to avoid dying instantly. As the Terran army, usually kind of a little bit of a glass army, glass cannon in those type senses. Okay, so once again the blink just barely not ready yet this time around. Okay, there we go, that's pretty good. Oh, one probe does die, but I mean, that's only one probe. That's only one probe. That is, you know what, again, pretty reasonable defense from Zoun here. Not taking any damage. There is still the medevac here with the single Widowmine, so could still come back around and try to grab a couple of those probes later on if Zoun is distracted by some other stuff. I'll have to try and keep tabs on that one. The blue is a little bit camouflaged actually, isn't it, on the mini-map this way, but okay, it is moving backwards now. Going back across the map here towards the other side of the Golden Wall, it seems. Zoun once again moving out with the Observer and the Stalkers. Gonna try to find some sort of a little bit of value trading here. Might be able to just see the move out, pick off a couple of units before they get too close, and then start really punching the army before it really gets into a position where it can do anything for Bunny here. Bunny once again making 2 extra barracks, by the way, so it looks like he is gonna want to end this fairly quickly here. Gonna go for another all-in. I should have seen this a little bit earlier on, but yeah, there we go. We have the +1 weapons upgrade, just Stim and combat shield, nothing else. And off he goes to the other side of the map. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more SCVs being pulled with this one as well. Bunny wants to get rid of the subsurface here. Recall being used. That is interesting. Did not expect that one. But yeah, it does look like Zoun doesn't want to lose the observers here too quickly. Alright, well, he should be aware that there's no third base. That's a big tell. He didn't check over there though, but I guess he sees the SCVs now being pulled. So that is everything he needs to know. He needs to realize that everything he needs to do right now is just hold on against this bush. That is everything that matters right now. As long as he manages not to die right here, right at this moment, he should be in a pretty reasonable spot. Ooh, trying to kill off that Raven there. Not being successful though. The Raven, again, a very important tool here for the Terran. Can force a lot of those Protoss units to kind of stop. There we go. Nice blink on top of it. The siege tanks are in a pretty reasonable position though. The force field is okay, but there's just not enough buffer here for our Protoss. Having to go through the SCVs first of all without any AoE damage whatsoever isn't going to be able to find much of anything here, and it looks like, you know what, Zoun is going to be able to take out the siege tanks, but that marine attack is still on the prowl, still going pretty strong, and those stalkers just did a blink forward and now are stuck here, and that's still an extremely terrifying Terran force. As most likely, well, actually I'm not quite sure if he's going to go for a drop here. I wouldn't be surprised, but actually it's probably a bad idea, right? Can Zoun still hold on here? Oh my dear lord, that Marauder, or Marauder, Protoss Marauder, the Immortal getting picked off as well, and Bunny, yeah, just having too much. And killing off Zoun here. Zoun, I mean, not having anywhere, well, not having to fight anywhere near any shield batteries there. I don't think he even had shield batteries necessarily. They are extremely helpful tools as they kind of provide yourself with a bit of buffer as well, which you desperately need. The time it takes you to kill off all the 23 or something SCVs, if it were that many, definitely a problem. Anyway, Zen, I think, is the final. No, Zen and Industry are the two maps remaining here. Wait, did we play Zen? I don't think we did, right? This is game number 6, so we still have Zen and Industry and Purity. Right. Zen. Okay. Okay. This is gonna be rough. Guys, this it's not looking good for Zoun. He is having a bit of trouble here against the animal, which is Bunny. Let's hope he manages to be okay here. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be rough. Can Zoun still hold on here? Find his way to claw back into the match, because he is quite far behind. I shouldn't have said anything when Zoun managed to get the one victory. I shouldn't have mentioned that that is not necessarily the biggest of deals in a best of 9. But then again, what is a big deal? It's having 4 points on the board, which is what is happening right now for this blue Terran player who's sending SCVs across the map. Well, at least one SCV. Anyway, he's Kaisi Gaming. He is a Bunny. I guess he's not Kaisi Gaming itself. He's just a part of it, guys. Please, please understand. He's not the entirety of Kaisi, as Kaisi also, of course, has innovation. And a whole bunch of other great players that I am kind of forgetting about right now, because I am a filthy Terran player at heart still. Anyway, top right side, we have a red Protoss. He is the Alpha X member, Zoun. See that dragon one more time as it spins around. Alright, anyway. Yeah, single barracks across the map here. That's going to mean Zoun is going to feel a little bit pressured not to put down that Nexus first on the foreground here. Might have to make a Zealot as well to start, so probably not the best of starts already here for Zoun. It's just a really strong thing you can do as a Terran. But let's see how he reacts, and there it is. There's the Cybernetic Skull, and yeah, there's the Zealot as well. Might invest the Chrono as well on the Zealot here. And then just a single Reaper is going to be coming out of that barracks right now. Of course, this also delays any type of an add-on you can have on your barracks, but also for the factory here. Oh, the probe. Deciding not to go for the scout here, actually. Looks like he will go for the Nexus after all. Probably a good call, as he realized that there's nothing already hitting him. So that means it's not Marines. He knows that it's most likely Reapers or something else. The probe also sees the factory here on the other side. So now he truly knows that this is just a single barracks with a Reaper. There's another Reaper on the way though, but a Stalker being created now as well. There's one Reaper trying to find value, but only, well, gets one so far. Reasonable bit of... oh my god, 1 HP, 1 HP. Are you kidding me? That is... that's rough. Alright, well, anyway. That second Reaper, was it still created? Yes, it was. Where is it, though? Okay, they're both coming back across the map here, wanting to kill off this probe before it manages to hide somewhere sneakily. Lurk its way back into a corner on some tiny crevice in the map here. Gonna be putting himself in that safety. If Zoun ever wants to have anything across the map building-wise, he's gonna have to send out another probe. Right, so Reapers, I mean, scouting-wise not being able to find it too much just yet. I like this move out from Zoun as well, actually. Realizing, you know, with the barracks still flying back from home, you're not going to have too much. And the factory, he saw the timing on that one too, so he knows that he should be okay with these forces on the other side of the map here. Actually recalls a bit ahead of time than I thought he had to, but rather safe than sorry. Does manage to get quite a couple of those SUVs pulled, but then again, I mean, Bunny very much oversaturated here, so I don't think it is actually that much of a big deal that... Not really any kind of damage, honestly. Probably found that from Zoun, unfortunately. No lost mining time whatsoever. Now, these two Hellions and their two Reapers, they do manage to get past everything that Zoun has. And Zoun now in a bit of a panic mode, needs to keep these probes, as many of them alive. Okay, there we go. Great targeting that from our red Protoss. Losing 2 probes. That is going to put him down 4 probes in total so far. But he's stabilized. He's stabilized. He is okay again. He is making a robotics bay as well. So it's less likely that he will die to the to any type of 2-base all-in aggression. But that's not what's going to be hitting him anytime soon, right? We see a 3rd base coming up here for Bunny very quickly, in fact. Before the other 2 barracks as well. And yeah, I'm not sure if Zoun is going to be at the state of mind where he wants to be aggressive with this. Although, oh my dear lord, we are having Disruptor drops actually. That's pretty darn cool. This is something we are seeing sometimes occurring, but of course still quite dangerous. It's quite a hefty investment if it does get picked off. That is a lot of trouble. Oh, the Phoenix is barely not seeing those Banshees flying across the map here. Might still get the scout on the tech lab with the starport. And should realize that that is a late point in time to still have a tech lab with a starport there. For just a single Raven that you're making. Alright, in comes the Disruptor. Being set up on the high ground here. There is a siege tank. It does get on siege though. And it looks like, you know what, that's 6 workers going down there. Great start for the War Prism Disruptor harassment, but we're still going to have to wait and see actually how much damage can be achieved by these Banshees, as there's no observer in sight right now. Where is it, in fact? I think it might be on the other side of the map somewhere. Where, oh, where art thou, observer? Right, there it is. It's coming in hot now. But still 10 workers getting destroyed. Disruptor isn't done just yet. It's going to be able to still gain some value here, but now with a Viking and a Raven out, it's going to be extremely difficult for that Warp Prism still to really get all the damage done that he wants to. I would love to see the Warp Prism speed. You sometimes see that as well, being constructed with this. Is it Exo Striker actually that does this a lot? He's really great at it. One of our Junior Cup members. Also from the Alpha X team. Anyway. Alright. That's an awkward exchange there of looks. The Banshee and the Warp Prism getting to see one another and just kind of stare into each other's eyes. Extremely frustrated that neither of them can really do anything against one another, of course. Okay, so third base for Zoun gonna be on the way. With these probes. Probes on the way towards that. That's what I mean. Disruptor, worthy effort. Trying to get more damage dealt there, but you know, it's difficult with those siege tanks, of course, to really get that damage dealt. Now, Zoun also adding in Colossi here. Still no Warp Prism speed or extended thermal lance. Oh wait, no, actually that one has been created. Okay, so I would love to see Warp Prism speed getting thrown into the mix as well, to make that Warp Prism a lot more viable against the Viking here. Make it a lot more difficult for Bunny to respond correctly. As well as it making it a lot more potent against if Bunny ever tries to move out on the map. It's a lot easier for the Warp Prism to get itself in a good position to drop the Disruptor and try to get damage that way, right on the army before it even reaches its base. Now, Banshees here could start picking off at those sentries, and that's exactly what they're doing. Shield battery, though, pretty darn strong. Where is that Observer? Once again, the Observer. Alright, there it is. Observer speed wouldn't be the worst thing either. Okay, Zoun paying attention to that Warp Prism. Not gonna lose it recklessly. And there's 2 Observers here right now. How many in total does Zoun have? 3, so... He's aware that these are here. He has Blink, so he's just waiting for them to commit more so. And then he can Blink underneath them, but actually doesn't really get the jump on them there. It allows them to get away. Bit unfortunate. Another Disruptor shot trying to get something done here. That was weird. Like, it seemed like the Siege Tank shot decal actually stayed above the Warp Prism there for a moment. Interesting. After picking up that Disruptor again. Oh, Disruptor that was set on fire. There we go. Finally, the Stalkers managed to catch those Banshees now. Well, at least a Banshee, I should say. Only one of them. But at the same time, this is kind of preoccupying Zoun, so he's not really aware that there is well, a small move out here of Terran forces. That could potentially take out this 4th base. Now, right, there is the Observer. Does get picked off. I really like this Raven play from Bunny, though. It is really nice to see the Terrans that are using the Ravens against the Protoss. It's always difficult, of course, because you can't really allow the Starport to just stay on the attack lab, as you do need the Medivacs probably more so than you need Ravens. And it just feels silly, less efficient than you. Oh my god, that's disgusting. Oh, no, 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 no. There's a massive drop, actually, as well at the same time. 13 workers did get picked off here now. It looks like Zoun is in a bit of trouble here. Okay, well, that's a good pick-off. Gets the one that is completely filled up with Terran units. So his army supply actually... Oh my god, after losing all those workers, and you know what, killing off quite a big portion of the Terran forces there, the army forces, still Zoun behind on both accounts. It's starting to feel a little bit unwinnable here for Zoun, perhaps, potentially. We need to see amazing Disruptor shots here. I think that's the one salvation that Bunny might, oh my dear lord. might bite Bunny in the ass here, but it's not gonna happen. The Stalkers need to run away. The Vikings chasing down those Colossi. I mean, I like that he's trying to make use of that choke point there, but he cannot afford losing these units right here, right now. Killing off the Raven, a good start, but I mean, alright. Does Bunny actually move backwards here? I'm not sure if he has to. He could, but then again, I don't think either of those options are great for Zoun anyway. Probably moving backwards would be better for Zoun, as he will be able to get that 4th base up and rolling finally, as we're seeing Bunny taking a 5th and a 6th base here. The War Prism is going to be able to get this scout off. But yeah, I mean, try to have the balls to warp something in there to try and arrest this right now, as you're already struggling to hold off the main front door, and in comes Bunny, actually already abandoning those siege tanks. Doesn't need them. GG is called. Zoun just fell behind too much and too far, and that is gonna bring Bunny to the conclusion there. He has the 5 points. That is a best of 9 done and dusted. Right, anyway. Yeah, I guess Bunny isn't bronze. That's what it comes down to. Guys, in about 20 minutes on my channel, Really Kozen, there's going to be Teja versus Rex going to be playing pretty soon. It's going to be the Path of Star that is going to be starting up pretty quickly as well. I'm surprised this one went as quickly as it did, but there we go. Hey, not much else we can do about that one. GG's all around. Bunny, just a absolute beast of a Terran, of course, as we kind of know. Sometimes he shows up and he shows amazing games. Sometimes he shows up and it's a little bit, well, it's up in the woodworks. But anyway, GG's to him. Let me do one more quick shout out, by the way, to one of our sponsors, as well as the Matcherino page, guys. If you haven't finished it yet, go check it out. And yeah, make sure to give these guys a prize that is worthy of their time and effort. Anyway, thank you so much. Come check out Path of Star later on. One more shout out to a sponsor. It's G Fuel, actually. Yeah. What are you drinking right now? Well, if it's not G Fuel, then stop it. It is, of course, the drink of esports. And if you want to get better at esports, then, well, you got to drink the official drink of esports, don't you? It ramps up your energy from 0 to 100 quite quickly, as it is an energy drink, and it sharpens your focus so you can keep your eye on the prize. It increases your endurance, because as we all know, gaming is a marathon, not a sprint. And lastly, G Fuel hydrates you so that you only thirst for victory. G Fuel, the official drink of esports. Stay hydrated, everybody, and go check them out. Alright, lovely stuff. So, yeah, if you want to see Teja playing versus Rex, a TVZ best of 9 series, then go check me out on @ReallyKozen on the Twitch. It's going to be starting up pretty soon. I'm going to start the pre-roll, and then we're just going to wait a little bit. And, yeah, that should be good. And, guys, we need to have those codes filled up as well. There is a little chat, of course, box there. A chatter box, if you would be ever so kind to help us out with that one, we would very much appreciate it. Get it maxed out. So thank you in advance. Anyway, cheers, guys. Hope to see you soon in a little bit. And yeah, love you too. Bye bye.